Africa does not suffer from a lack of talent. It suffers from a lack of structured belief in that talent as an economic engine. From Kampala to Lagos, Nairobi to Johannesburg, our music moves continents, not only African continent, but continents. Tuberanga abali mu Pangaea, ne splitting abwet, bu Atlantis ne bubulawo. Our talent has enormous potential. Our fashion shapes global trends, and our stories travel faster than any other export we have. Yet, while culture flows effortlessly across borders, the systems required to convert that creativity into sustained economic growth and power often lags behind. The creative economy is built on ideas, intellectual property, innovation, and cultural expression. This represents one of the most under-leveraged and underdeveloped growth sectors on the African continent. I'm here to argue that creativity is not just a side attraction to serious industries, a side dish, but it is a strategic pillar capable of driving GDP growth, youth employment, tourism, national branding, social impact. With the right policies, infrastructure, and mindset shift, African governments, corporations, and communities can transform cultural capital into measurable economic strength. The question is no longer whether the creative economy matters. The question is whether we are bold enough to treat it like the powerhouse it already is. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Nsimbi, Ernest, GNL Zamba, Lupiazitta, Mr. Content Chapa Kubuli Continent, Owa Baboon Forest Entertainment, Nsimbi tuli Lupiazitta, ekintu kigwera mu buwumbi ku bank statement. Nebo mpayo just one moment. Nkulaga nti siri just great, but that you and I can be magnificent. This is the creative economy class, Africa's most underrated natural resource. Yes, it is more valuable than oil and definitely more fun. So, I know many of you are wondering, but what is this thing you're telling us about the creative economy, the creative economy? The creative economy refers to the economic activities that derive value from creativity, culture, intellectual property, innovation, and artistic expression. It includes sectors such as music, which is one of the most pronounced. It includes film, it includes fashion, it includes design, it includes advertising, it includes publishing, it includes gaming. Gaming, video games, it includes visual arts, it includes architecture, it includes crafts, digital content, and culture tourism. According to UNESCO, which is a UN body, cultural and creative industries generate over 2.3 trillion. Let that number sink in. 2.3 trillion annually, and they employ over 50 million people worldwide, making it one of the fastest growing sectors in the global economy. The UNCTAD reports that creative goods and services account for a rapidly expanding share of global trade, growing faster than many traditional industries. Africa, the most culturally influential continent on earth, is barely collecting the check. What do? We export the vibes, we export the rhythm, we export the fashion, we give away our designs, we export the slang, but we do not even import the profits. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a vibe. It is a problem with our business model as African countries. This is why the creative economy in Africa is an untapped gold mine that we all should collectively explore. You all know that Africa is the youngest continent in the world. Over 60% of the population is under the age of 25. This is not just a statistic. That's a production studio just waiting for Wi-Fi. That is a dry ruira only waiting for a spark. That's an ore with a diamond inside it waiting to be mined. Many governments still treat creativity as a hobby. They treat creativity like that drunk uncle who shows up on Christmas and you only tolerate him because he's only there for a short time. But other countries like South Korea have turned K-pop, film and gaming into a multi-billion-dollar export engine. The global success of K-pop groups has generated billions in tourism, in merchandise, and in national branding. So many people want to go to Seoul, which is one of their cleanest cities now, because everybody wants to see these K-pop groups and where they emerged from. It has become that global culture. The United Kingdom places its creative industries at the center of economic strategy. There is a strategy where you need to involve your creatives to come to the table. For example, if Uganda needs branding, if Rwanda needs branding, and to improve its global image, who are the people you call in? You don't call in your... United Kingdom places its creative industries at the center of economic strategy. Creative industries contribute over £100 billion annually to the GDP. £100 billion to the annual GDP of the UK. Nigeria's Nollywood is one of the largest film industries in the world by volume, contributing significantly to employment and GDP. So, the question is not, does the creative economy work? The question is, why are we still acting so surprised that this thing works? Yet the examples are staring us right in the faces. I'm going to present points that argue for the creative economy as a crucial turning key, or let's call it an ignition key for the national development of African economies. So number one is going to be GDP growth, because creative industries create high-value intellectual property. This IP scales globally without even shipping any containers. No logistics required here. Because a song recorded in Chandamukaaka or Kampala can earn royalties in Tokyo while you are sleeping. That's not magic. That is metadata. Number two, in national branding, when people think about Jamaica, they think about reggae. When people think about Brazil, they think about samba and the carnival. When people think about the United States, they think about Hollywood. Creative output defines national identity faster than any embassy speech ever could. So Uganda has rhythms, it has languages, it has stories, we got great fashion, we have amazing landscapes. Yet, how many global audiences can name a Ugandan film, or a Ugandan fashion house, or a design movement? I mean, I'll wait. Crickets. Yeah. National building and branding isn't just a tourism brochure. It is cultural dominance, curated. Number three, tourism through film and music. Now, this is a fact that after Lord of the Rings, which was a movie, right? After filming Lord of the Rings, the tourism in New Zealand, where it was filmed, surged dramatically. The landscape became cinematic mythology. Africa has landscapes that don't even need CGI. What we need is distribution and investment. Film, music festivals, fashion weeks. Singapore Uganda mukonika at Bezo, ngakabere Miami. I'm looking forward to a moment like that. I'm looking forward to seeing that in Tanzania, Kenya, Rwanda, or Burundi. These events, as film, music festivals, fashion weeks, these are not just parties. They are foreign direct investments with rhythm. Number four, the creative economy can empower social impact and environmental education. Creatives translate policy into emotion. You give something like this, which is just made out of clay, right? I can give it a story. My brothers who are poets my brothers who are doing copywriting and advertising, turn a mere object into a story. So I'm asking you, what's Uganda's story? Creatives can make conservation into a song, conservation into a viral film, or a viral global campaign. Environmental education told through art travels faster than any PDF ever will. It will travel faster than all these delegates that we call every time to drink tea and spend all this money talking about the environment, yet we the people who can ship all of this creativity without shipping containers, as we call them, are sitting idle. There's a waste of resources right there. Number 5, there's a colonial mindset problem that we need to get over. This abadongo mwefuge mentality. You look at people, you speak better, you express yourself better than, that you invest better than, look good better than, even smell better than, saying, oh, you mudongo. You get me? It is a loop of patronizing the arts, because the colonialists in their design really wanted to weaken people and cut them off from their roots. But now Africa is waking up, and the people all over East Africa are also waking up. So let's address this elephant in the rehearsal room. There's an elephant in the rehearsal room. So, for decades, African creatives were patronized and not respected. Art was treated as entertainment and not enterprise. The outdated colonial mindset says, real careers are law, medicine, and engineering. The future economy says code, content, culture. We must shift from applause-based validation to asset-based valuation. Artists are not beggars at the gate of policy. We are the economic multipliers. So, here are 10 GNL Zamba strategic recommendations for government and industry about the creative economy. 1, let's establish creative economy ministries, not just as decoration, but as investment arms. Number 2, intellectual property enforcement. Actually, going back to point number 1, we should have our own creative economy, a creative economy ministry, and not just lump it under gender, because I think gender is also something which is wide on its own. The creative economy is big enough to have its own ministry. So number 2, intellectual property enforcement. Royalty systems must function. Piracy is not culture, it is leakage. Number 3, national creative funds. Low interest loans and grants for film, fashion, gaming, and production. To be fair, some of this money is starting to go out, but it's only going to a few. Number 4, creative education reform. Embedded arts, coding, digital media, and entrepreneurship in primary and secondary curriculums. Number 5, film and production incentives. Tax rebates to attract international productions to our cities. Number 6, creative export offices. We need to establish and support global distribution, touring, licensing, and partnerships. Number 7, data and measurement. We need to measure creative GDP contributions, because what gets measured always gets funded. 8 is public to private partnerships. Corporations must sponsor culture strategically and not just use creatives for photo ops. For cultural infrastructure would be my 9th point. We need to build studios, rehearsal spaces, co-working hubs, and digital labs. Number 10 is continental collaboration. A Pan-African creative exchange with platforms for distribution and touring. And here is the Ugandan opportunity. Uganda stands at the crossroads of tourism, agriculture, manufacturing, culture, and e-commerce. These sectors and not separate silos. They are collaborators. So imagine Cacao Cafe, Ugandan coffee, branded through music ambassadors. Agricultural exports tied to fashion and storytelling. Wildlife conservation amplified through film. Manufacturing boosted by African design aesthetics. Culture is the amplifier of every other sector, and we could go on and on and on, rushing through so many sectors. So, this is my message for policymakers and corporations. Those investing in creatives is not charity. If you invest in creatives, it is economic foresight. When you invest in artists and creatives, it is job creation, solving the youth unemployment problem. You're creating export revenue, you're changing the national image, and you're creating innovation ecosystems. The next global unicorn might not be a tech app. It might be a fashion house from Kampala. It might be a gaming studio in Nairobi or in Karamoja. It might be a film franchise not only in Lagos but in Kawempe. This is my Pan-African call to action. As a creative entrepreneur operating both locally and globally, I have seen it firsthand. When African creativity enters global rooms, the temperature changes. But creativity needs infrastructure. Talent without systems is just noise. Talent with systems is what you call an industry. So the creative economy is not a side dish. Stop treating it as such. It is the main course, and Africa already owns the recipe. Let us stop exploring and exporting raw culture and importing unfinished goods. We need to benefit from the profits, vertical integration. Let Uganda and Africa usher in a robust creative future where artists are employers, exporters, innovators, and national ambassadors. If we do not invest in our stories, this is a warning. If we do not invest in our stories, someone else will tell them, and they will invoice us for the privilege. Trust me, it will be expensive. My name is Nsimbi Ernest, GNL Zamba, Mr. Content, Chapa ku buli continent, Owaba Boom Forest Entertainment. Nsimbi Tulye Lupiazitta. Ekintu kiggwera mu buwumbi ku bank statement, naye bw'ompayo just one moment, nkulaga siri just great, but that you and I can be magnificent. Thank you for listening. See you on the next one.